Hey guys, Tom here, and thank you for joining the Pokemon Accountant YouTube channel. And first and foremost, I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. My last two videos have really had much more views than I ever anticipated, and it couldn't have been without your support. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm glad that you guys are learning. And you guys are also so kind. You are giving me a lot of feedback, such as getting a better quality mic. So I'm sure you can listen to this. I hope the mic quality is much better than before, as well as adding a thumbnail. So I've incorporated that into my videos, and I'll kind of do so from here on out. I didn't think people would really watch my content, but I'm glad that from my background of finance, accounting, and business, that you guys are learning a thing or two and applying this to the Pokemon investing hobby. And I hope it really helps you out, because that's kind of the reason why I made this YouTube channel. I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of talk about some of the accounting, business, economic principles that goes into investing, and that's the area that I really wanted to make my content come out of. I didn't want it to be so speculative. This is what I think, this is how I feel. But I wanted to bring, some basic investing principles, lay it up front, and hopefully you guys can learn these principles and apply it to Pokemon investing. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. I'm sure you see the thumbnail where I mentioned that the Pokemon market is drying up, and there's a reason for that. And it's an economic principle called equilibrium, or the equilibrium price. And so let me just minimize my camera right here and we can talk about it. And I think this concept, this topic, is going to drive this entire video. The market will always market, right? We hear that a lot, but what does it really mean? And that always has to do with the state of equilibrium. The equilibrium price is where the supply of goods matches demand. When a major index experiences a period of consolidation or sideways momentum, it can be said that the forces of supply and demand are relatively equal, and the market is in a state of equilibrium. You guys catch that? The market will tell you if it's in a state of equilibrium, and that is a sideways movement of prices between up and down swings. And we're going to go right into that in a moment, okay? Economists find that prices tend to fluctuate around the equilibrium levels. If the prices rise too high, market forces will incentivize sellers to come in, okay, and produce more. So we see this in terms of the Pokemon market. That's what a reprint is. When the prices are too high, like Prismatic Evolutions, they will come in. Pokemon Company said they will try to print more, and that's exactly what's happening and what we will continue to see in 2026. If the prices are too low, additional buyers will bid up the price. So if the prices of a product is believed to be too low, people will come in and buy it up. That's why we have buyouts. Guys, buyouts are not market manipulation, but it could be as well. So that's where we have to be a little careful. If people believe the value of a product is higher than it actually is, they will come in and buy it out. So now that we've kind of gone over the basic principles of equilibrium, now we know why prices are the way they are, and we know why the market will perform the way it does. So with that said, let's get into some of the products today. And first off, I want to start off with the products that have dipped, because we know in October, November, Pokemon prices have dipped, and you saw the YouTube algorithm and the videos. Pokemon crash. Oh no, sell everything, right? It's all this fear that was going on in the market. And I hope you didn't listen to that noise and you bought in instead. You shouldn't be buying now. You should have been buying during that dip for a lot of these products, because some of those opportunities are gone now, right? We're standing here. It's a January 4th, 2026. And my question is, what dip? What dip? There was no dip. There was no dip. Why? because it's gone. There was a dip, but if you didn't catch the dip is gone. Prices for some of these products are exactly where they were. So as we read here together, if the prices are too low, additional buyers will bid up the price. That's how equilibrium works, okay? So the first set of products that we're going to go over today are products that rose up from the 2025 bull market. They dipped and corrected, but because of the dip, people saw that this is an opportunity to buy, so they brought the prices right back up. Let's go over that so we can learn from this scenario and apply this into our investing in 2026 next time we see a correction. All right, guys? Starting off with Brilliant Stars Booster Box, we see that it was at 547, right? 550, and then it dipped down to 414. You could find them, 410, 420, 430, and that was the dip. I hope you guys were buying there, because if you look at the prices now, we're back at 550. That is believed to be the equilibrium price at the moment, is $550 for Brilliant Stars. However, if more demand enters the market, we can see that this would go up. Supply for Sword and Shield has stopped. It is what it is. The only thing that drives prices now would be demand, right? And supply could shrink as people rip it, as people lose it and it gets lost. Prices can only go up from here on out or maintain the equilibrium price. And from what we see, the equilibrium price is roughly around, if you want to average it out, we could. 410 plus 550 would be about $1,000 divided by 2, $500. I think $500 is the equilibrium price for this product right now. So this could come back down. It could come back up. It's just kind of oscillating here. But we also know in the long term, whenever there is another run, the prices will go up. 151 booster bundles, same thing, right? And this is going to be the pattern for all these products that I'm showing you right here. 151 booster bundles were 100. They dipped and back up to 102. Paldean Fates booster bundles, same thing. 106 dipped, back at 96. So they haven't quite recovered to where they were, and this is going out of print soon. But I would imagine the equilibrium price for this, we're at the equilibrium price, right? So it's going to oscillate until it kind of skyrockets, but it's consolidated. UPC 151 UPC, same thing. You see how it's kind of doing this straight line. Crown Zenith, same thing. It's doing that straight line right there, right? Celebrations, same thing. It's doing that straight line. Astral Radiance, right? It's doing that whole straight line thing. Sam's Club 151, it released. People already knew that it would be 101, $100, but because of the way people were just like, there's a bunch of supplies you can see here. People were rushing to undercut one another, and I hope you caught that dip because there was a supply shock in the market. There was far more suppliers than there were buyers, and that causes prices to dip drastically all at once. But as the markets, we're back at equilibrium price. Prismatic Sam's Club. This is a perfect example of equilibrium. It's oscillating up, plus $10, minus 10, minus 10, right? We're back to equilibrium. 110 is at equilibrium. And then minus 10, plus 10, minus 10, plus 10, minus 10, plus 10, right? If you average the price out, it's about $110 for this box. Same thing for the Prismatic 8 tins, right? We see it at 135, 130, 150, about $140 is the equilibrium price. It's just going to keep doing this oscillating thing around that price until it shoots up. Paldean Fates, Great Tusk, same thing, right? Product came out and it's like, yeah, this should be a $130 product. There's a supply shock in the market and it lasts like a month, and then once they're all bought up, we're back where we started, right? And this, I think this product is going to perform much like, Prismatic kind of later on. It's just going to oscillate and slowly make its way up, especially as this is out of print. So I went over a lot of products. What I want you to learn from this as Pokemon investors is that there is an equilibrium price. If you can consolidate, right? When prices are just rising straight, and there is no dip, do not buy. That is not how markets work. They should be oscillating, okay? People have a fear of missing out, so they buy it and then thinking the pump will go on forever, but you really don't know when it will go up. And even if it does go up, it must come down, and you need to decide to stop there and to sell. And that's the difficult part of timing the market. You can't really time the market, but you could time these dips, right? You can't predict when it will happen, but when it happens, I hope you had a budget to spend, right? If you didn't buy during the dip at all for those 6 months and you just were patient, you didn't spend a single dollar, and you had money ready to be spent, you could have bought Brilliant Stars at 400 to 450 a box. Could have gone 151 boosters at maybe even like $70 local, right? You could have gotten it way cheaper. Same thing with Paldean Fates. I think the opportunity for 151 and Paldean Fates are still there. It hasn't changed too much. Crown Zenith, you could have gotten it a little bit cheaper, right? Like 10% off. It's not a whole lot, but hey, 10% is 10%. 151, you could have gotten it at 200. That was a huge correction, right? But we're back to where we pretty much started. You could have gotten it and you would have made an extra 20% of gains by savings, but you have to have the budget during these dips. If you don't have money when the market crashes because you bought everything at a high, I'm sorry, that wasn't a good move. You need to be patient in this game. You got to wait for these deals to happen, because it will happen again and again. The market will always market, okay? So the first set of products that I kind of talked about were the products that, kind of did correct, that dipped and came back up. But we also have products that have dipped since and have not come back up. So these are the ones that I want to kind of talk about and discuss next with you. For example, Silver Tempest. We saw these at nearly $500, and they've dipped to $420, right? And it's kind of staying this way. It's just it hasn't like shot straight back up the way that Brilliant Stars did, and that could just be the way people are looking at the product, but we do see a lot of buyouts. Hey, look, remember, if the price is too low, additional buyers will bid up the price. Look at Silver Tempest right here. In the last month, the prices at $420 were too low, so the market shot up the price. Look, 29 sold in one day, and then it shot up to 430, and it's now back to 420. What do you think will happen again? I think that if the price is too low, additional buyers will bid up the price. So there's going to be more people buying it, right? More people are going to come in. It's going to be like 30 sold again. There's going to be another, dark blue bar, right? So at $420, Silver Tempest is believed to be too cheap. If you can find this box locally, go pick it up, because the equilibrium price is, I don't believe it to be $420. I believe the equilibrium price is more like $450. I think that's a fair equilibrium price. If you average the top and the bottom, $450 would be kind of where things average out the most, right? If you just drew like a straight line across right here. So at $420, you're getting, this box at a pretty good price, like 10% off. If you can negotiate with someone locally and offer $400 or maybe $380 because this box at $420, that's a great pickup, man. Try to negotiate. It doesn't hurt, right? Send people some offers on Facebook. Hey, $380, $390 for your Silver Tempest, and hopefully it's a minty box too. It should be. And if you can pick it up sub $400, that's a great buy. And even at $420, man, haggling $20 sometimes not worth it. But you do you. Ooh, what happened here? Okay, Lost Origin. We're at $680, and same thing, right? The prices were low, and there was a bit of a buyout, and the prices are still being bought. maybe a little bit slower now as people are looking at some other stuff, but I think eventually this will get bought up. I think on average this should be like a 700 ish dollar box. So if you can find this locally, like 620, 630, 640, I think it's a decent entry point. At 680 you could still enter, but there might be a little bit more opportunity with other plays, especially to park this much money. Also, if you notice with some of these more expensive boxes, they don't like consolidate as fast. Like Fusion Strike, they were 1,000 and now it's at 850. Like 900 is kind of maybe where it would like be a straight line. We do see some buyouts at these like dips, much higher quantity than we did before, and the prices will drive back up eventually. It could take some time since these are more expensive boxes. Like I said, I think that's why people will drive up the less expensive stuff first, just because dropping nearly $1,000 on this stuff is not so easy, and it's a lot of your budget. I don't think most people have like even like $1,000 or $2,000-$3,000, like $10,000. Dude, it's a lot of money to spend on Pokemon, right? So give it some time. The more expensive boxes take a little bit longer. Same thing like Evolving Skies. Like if you just look at the last month, look at all the people buying it out because there were no sales at the high points, right? No blue bars because the market, talking about equilibrium price, the prices are too high, which forces the sellers. They're not going to produce more because this is out of print. But if the prices are too high and there's no demand for it at that price, the sellers, people want their money. People who do want to liquidate, they'll have to come down and meet the buyers where we are, right? And so that's how the market came down for this box. Like no one wanted it to really spend $2,500-$600 on Evolving Skies booster box. But hey, if you meet us down at $2,200, $2,100, $2,300, we'll pay that price. And that's why market prices are down here now. So until all these are kind of sold out, I think it'll just maintain at these prices. But it will dry up eventually, but maybe a little slower since these are more expensive. Chilling Reign, same concept, right? Look, no one was really buying it at these like high 500s, and people are buying it now at the 420, right? Kind of like Brilliant Stars, and it's shot back up to like 478. But the interesting thing is around this time is also where sentiment changed. The demand for this product actually decreased because people realized that Brilliant Stars was the better play. And so that's why Brilliant Stars pumped the way it did. So demand did leave this box a little bit. And, this is kind of seen as like a $500 box, but Brilliant Stars is probably a better play at that price. So until Brilliant Stars is like $600, I think Chilling Reign will be where it's at. And, these guys could like switch spots randomly. I can't say which one's the better buy just because time could change like what I'm going to tell you now. So I'm not going to say Brilliant Stars or Chilling Reign is better. You guys can make the decision yourself. You can get one of each, but hey, you should have been buying at the 410s, 420s, right? And that opportunity is gone now. We're back at the equilibrium price. 151 ETBs. So this is a little bit interesting. I think there was maybe too high of a premium on these because realistically you're getting 11 packs. You're getting a promo that's like $250. Like 11 packs times $15 a pack. What is that? Like $160-ish plus the contents of this box only worth like $400. And the market price was at like nearly $1,000. It's a really high premium. And I know the supply of this product's really low and the demand's relatively high, so that's kind of what drives it up. But the market kind of agreed, like, this is way too much. We're not going to buy it in at nearly $1,000 because at $1,000 I could get Fusion Strike, right? I can get like Lost Origin. I could get 2 Brilliant Stars. Like, I don't know about this product at that price, so that drives it down. And at $800, you could pick this up, but there's still the thing, hey, Fusion Strike's the same price. Would you rather have Fusion Strike or 151 ETB. It could be hard. If you already have Fusion Strike, maybe get 151. If you already have this 151 ETB, PC ETB, maybe get Fusion Strike to diversify a little bit. Or you could go all in on one. It's up to you. I think they're both really good products. I'm not going to go over the minutia as some of you guys are saying. It's a lot. Yeah, I agree with that. So 151 ETB, same thing. It was 400, came down to 350, dropped 10%, and it's gone up 5%. So not a whole lot of changes here. It kind of says that this is already at like a equilibrium price. It's not going to drop to $300. Maybe if you can find locally and in good condition because someone's like selling it out. They need money quick. That'd be a good pickup if you can find it at 300. But at this price, pretty expensive, I think. There's a lot of other stuff I'd rather get. So 151 booster bundle display. This one's interesting because like it had such a large premium, and it still does. But the interesting thing is like during this time, the booster bundles were only like $100, right, or like 90. And it dropped, so and there's still a premium, but I think this premium was way too high. I think 1300 is actually the equilibrium price on this, or what it appears to be. People do like this product, and it will be a generational set, so there's that's why it has a premium on it. I think prices will drive up once it stops printing, and investors realize this is a really good product to have. Celebrations UPC. So this one is, what's going on there? That's kind of weird. Yeah, so it hasn't dipped too much. It's dipped like 10% from the high, and it's kind of maintaining there. But I think sentiment towards this could change again when the anniversary comes, and we could see it price higher. So I don't know if it'll get much cheaper than this. So if you want to get in on this, this is a relatively safe product to invest in. It's the anniversary set. It's got Pikachu. It's anniversary year, and it's not going to drop sub 800. Maybe you could find it locally, but it won't drop like too low. If you want to pick it up, this is probably the time to pick it up, to be honest. Or it'll be back at 900, and once it gets to 900, it's pretty close to 1,000, and I think it could break 1,000. And once it breaks 1,000, the sky's the limit, right? Prismatic. So this is an example of equilibrium price. $110 seems to be that price that everyone agrees on. Like, so it's gonna shoot up because the market dries up, right? People buy it, rip it open, or collect it, whatever, and then Pokemon prints a whole bunch, shoots down. When they print, you should be buying, right? Try to get it at MSRP, and if you can find it locally, like $100 a box, I'd buy a few, but I wouldn't really go crazy. I feel like there's just better opportunities in the market to spend your money on it. Like 151 ETB, we see it at like nearly $400, and I think this could do it. But there's lots of things that can also 4x with less risk and less time, because this is a heavily printed set. Keep you at that. 151 ETBs were not printed the same way, so I'd just be a little skeptical as this is still being printed in the future. But get ready, maybe you could own a few, but I don't know if this would be like $1,000 box. It could be one day, but time could tell. PC ETBs for Prismatic, same thing. Seems like that $300 is the agreed upon price point. It oscillates down and up, and when it comes down, you should try to pick it up. And we're here at 320. Could it come down more? Maybe. Should you get this? I'm still a little iffy on that. Maybe have one or two, but still, hey, that's a lot of the budget. So even if you don't get it, I don't think you're missing out on much. Prismatic SPCs. Yeah, I think that like 240 seems to be where prices are consolidating, and reprints could bring this down to 200, maybe even sub 200. Maybe locally you can find it cheaper, but I don't think it's going down too much. It's a pretty cool product. Not a whole lot of value though. It's 15 packs, and at like $8 a pack, that's like $120 worth of packs, and then you get a promo that's worth like $20. So it's 140. There's a lot of premium on this product. I got like 2 of them. I think they're just cool. I just have it for display, so that's just my thing. I don't know if I would heavily invest in it. It's cool. Black Bolt ETB. So this is perfect example of what perfect competition equilibrium looks like. Look, the $80 price seems to be the agreed upon price, and there hasn't been a crazy reprint yet. You could get 1 or 2, but I would just be patient. This thing's going to reprint, and you'll be able to find this, at hopefully $70, $60 or something like that. Destined Rivals, it's kind of just came down, and the markets agreed this is like a $400 box at this point until we get more supply. And even if we do, how low can this really go, right? Remember, this set released in March. Is that March? Yeah, in March. Those were the pre-sales, and then the box came out, right? And then it dropped. Wave 1, right? Wave 2, and it was at like 250, kind of 260. And once after wave 2 and the product stopped coming out, it just shot straight up as people realized this is the generational set, right? And $490, $500, that's way too much for a box that's still in print. It's like triple MSRP. It's really crazy. And so the product, it got reprinted, it came back down, and until we get another reprint, this, I think it's just gonna maintain this 400. If you can find this locally, like 320, 340, yeah, pick up 1 or 2. Hopefully reprints come in the future, and I know they will, and it brings it down to that 320, 330. I don't think it would ever go sub 300, not for a product like this, because as we talked about, if prices are too low, buyers will bid up the price, and I think $300 is way too low for this box, in my opinion. And if that's how you guys feel and think too, then that's probably the truth. Surging Sparks, it seems like the market has found its equilibrium price of $250 until we get more supply. So if you were buying at like $200, I found some $200 a box locally. I picked up a few of those. Those were great. It's done. They're still going for like $230 locally, so not bad. 10-15% in a few months' time. I wouldn't go crazy. I just pick up 1 or 2, but supply will stop and lessen in this following year. Maybe 1 or 2 more reprints, and we'll call it a day there. Twilight Masquerade. We've seen a correction. There's not a whole lot of supply in the market, and kind of similarly, that's just what the market does. It could see a reprint maybe, and if it does, you can buy it a little cheaper if you want to own some of this. But hey, this is totally up to you. Paldea Evolve is going to stop printing. $450 is way too much, near $500. It's gone down like $400, right? And that's where the market agrees that it's fair. So it's going to consolidate to 400. If you pick these up during the dip, congrats. Or even if you picked it up like, way earlier, congrats, because it's going to do well in the long term. So I know I went over a lot of information today. Let me just bring this guy back up. But again, I hope you learned a thing or two about equilibrium prices and how that works. And you're taking advantage of these dips in the market, and you're accumulating properly. You're accumulating and buying these dips. Be patient. If you got like $5,000 to spend a year on Pokemon, or maybe even like $2,000, don't buy it when things are going up. Wait for these dips and opportunities, and get something that is worth your money, worth your time, right? If you're able to buy Brilliant Stars at $400 and you spent your $2,000 on 2 of them, and then with your last 1,000 you got like, I don't know, a Fusion Strike box, right? And then maybe a few 151 booster bundles, and you just sat on that. Hey, that's just going to skyrocket from here on out. You caught the dip already. You caught that downswing. Market equilibrium brought it back to where it actually should be. And, when demand comes into the market again, it's just going to take you to the moon. So I thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please give a comment, a like, and a subscribe. And I really appreciate it a lot. So thank you for watching Poke Accountant. I'm Tommy, and I'm signing out. See you next one.